April 14, 1984. A date struck from the official records. On a classified test flight over the North Atlantic, a prototype B-2 Spirit stealth bomber vanished from radar screens. No distress signal was sent. No wreckage was ever found. The government declared it a statistical anomaly, a ghost story of the Cold War. For decades, the most expensive aircraft ever built has rested in absolute silence, buried in the abyssal plain, 2,000 meters beneath the crushing waves. The pressure here is 200 atmospheres, enough to turn a conventional submarine into a crushed tin can. But the Spirit was not built like other machines. Today, the darkness is finally broken. The high-intensity LED floodlights of our Triton XL deep-sea submersible cut through the eternal gloom. The water is thick with marine snow, organic detritus falling from the surface like a slow, endless blizzard. And there, emerging from the shadows, is a shape that defies nature. It is not the organic curve of a whale, nor the jagged silhouette of a rock formation. It is a perfect, geometric triangle, a 52-meter wingspan lying flat on the white calcified sand. To the uninitiated, it looks like a crashed alien starship, a relic from another world abandoned on the ocean floor. But we know what it is. We are looking at $2 billion of taxpayer money, frozen in time. As we move closer, the condition of the aircraft becomes apparent, and it is a heartbreaking sight for any aviation enthusiast. The B-2 was designed to be invisible to radar, coated in a highly classified, toxic radar-absorbent material known as RAM. But salt water is a cruel mistress. After 40 years of immersion, this secret skin is failing. It is peeling off in large, jagged flakes, fluttering in the deep-sea currents like dead skin. Underneath, the gray skeleton of the aircraft is exposed. This is not aluminum or steel. It is a complex weave of graphite epoxy composite. It does not rust in the traditional sense, but it degrades. The structural bonds are weakening. Nature has claimed this weapon of war. Deep-sea spider crabs, blind ant tail, crawl over the complex Elevon control surfaces, treating this pinnacle of human engineering as nothing more than an artificial reef. Tube worms have colonized the landing gear base. The irony is palpable. A machine built to destroy is now a nursery for life. The camera pans across the massive wingspan. The scale is overwhelming. It stretches beyond the reach of our lights, disappearing back into the void. Our remote-operated vehicle, or ROV, extends a manipulator arm. We need positive identification. The arm moves towards the wingtip. A layer of gray silt and biological slime covers the markings. With a gentle, surgical motion, the robotic brush sweeps away the sediment. The cloud clears, and there it is. The white star. The faint, ghostly letters of the US Air Force. It is undeniable. We have found the lost Spirit, but finding it is the easy part. Touching it, that is where the danger begins. The ROV gently nudges a loose piece of the composite skin. It crumbles instantly, dissolving into a cloud of black dust. The aircraft is incredibly fragile. It is structurally compromised. If we attempt to lift it using standard salvage methods, wrapping chains around the fuselage, the sheer weight of the waterlogged airframe will cause it to snap in half. We would be left with nothing but broken pieces. We need a miracle. In the mission control room on the surface vessel Ocean Titan, the atmosphere is thick with tension. The world's leading naval architects and salvage engineers are gathered around a holographic projection table. The data is grim. The B-2 is stuck in the mud, creating a suction force calculated at nearly 5,000 tons. To break it free without destroying the fragile composite wings requires a plan of unprecedented delicacy. We cannot pull the aircraft. We must cradle it. We must treat it not like a shipwreck, but like a wounded patient. The solution is the arachnid cradle, a massive, custom-fabricated net made from high-tensile spectra fiber material 10 times stronger than steel, but light enough to float. On the rear deck of the salvage ship, the massive yellow web is prepared. It looks chaotic, a tangle of straps and buckles, but every inch has been engineered for a specific load-bearing purpose. Crane operators lower the structure into the water. Heavy chains rattle as the cradle descends, guided by sonar transponders, plunging into the deep blue. Down below, the operation enters its most critical phase. A fleet of 4 ROVs works in synchronized harmony. They are equipped with high-pressure hydrolances water jets designed to cut through the seabed floor. They begin to dig. Blasting away centuries of accumulated sediment, they tunnel underneath the massive wings of the bomber. It is a slow, blinding process. Clouds of mud obscure the cameras, forcing the pilots to fly by instrument alone. They must thread the heavy yellow straps of the cradle through these tunnels, passing them under the fuselage from port to starboard, locking them into place like a safety belt. One wrong move could puncture the thin composite skin of the fuel tanks. Hours turn into days. Finally, the web is secure. The B-2 Spirit is resting comfortably in its yellow hammock. Now, we introduce the lifting physics. We do not use cranes to hoist it to the surface. The dynamic tension from the surface waves would tear the plane apart. Instead, we use variable buoyancy, 50 deflated lift bags, looking like white jellyfish, or attached to the cradle. A specialized umbilical hose is connected. We begin to pump a slurry of incompressible foam and air into the balloons. Watch the monitors. The tension gauges are climbing. 20% low, 40% low, 80%. The balloons inflate, straining against the water pressure, fighting the grip of the mud. The B-2 groans, a sound captured by the hydrophones, a deep, resonant creak of carbon fiber under stress. And then, the release. With a sudden, violent lurch, the suction breaks. A massive cloud of silt explodes from the bottom, obscuring everything. When the dust settles, the B-2 is floating. It hovers 10 meters above the seafloor, weightless, suspended in the water column. The ascent begins. The journey to the surface is a slow ballet. We rise at a rate of 5 meters per minute to prevent rapid depressurization damage. Passing through the midnight zone, then the twilight zone. The water shifts from black to indigo, then to a vibrant azure blue. Schools of tuna scatter as the dark monolith rises from the depths. And then, to breach. The surface of the ocean boils. White foam churns. First, the white balloons break the surface, bobbing in the swell. Then, the nose of the bomber pierces the waves. Water cascades off the sleek black fuselage, pouring out of the hidden crevices, weeping for its return to the world of air. It looks battered. It looks alien, but it is here. The aircraft is immediately transferred to a floating dry dock barge and covered in a biocontainment tent. We are not just hiding it from spy satellites, we are containing a biological hazard. The B-2 is coated in toxic materials, and now, it is also covered in decaying marine life. The smell inside the tent is overpowering, a mix of rotten seaweed, sulfur, and ancient aviation fuel. The barge makes the slow transit to a classified restoration facility in the Nevada desert. Welcome to the hangar, a pristine, white, sterile environment that looks more like a hospital operating theater than a mechanic's workshop. The B-2 sits in the center, a dark, dirty scar on the polished white epoxy floor. The first step is decontamination. The billion-dollar car wash begins. This is a process of brutal efficiency. Technicians in full hazmat suits approach the vessel. They wield industrial hydroblasters out putting for thousands of. The water jets hit the fuselage with the force of a bullet. The result is instantly satisfying. Layers of calcifying barnacles, green algae, and 40 years of ocean grime are obliterated. The water acts like a chisel, stripping away the organic corruption. Thick black sludge flows off the wings and into the floor drains. The steam cleaners move in next, tackling the wheel wells. They melt away the solidified grease and oil, leaving the titanium struts gleaming. But water is not enough. The stealth coating the ram has chemically bonded with the salt and must be chemically stripped. We apply a proprietary pink solvent gel. It is a reactive agent that breaks down the molecular bonds of the paint. You can see it working. The pink gel bubbles and foams, turning black as it lifts the coating. Then comes the scraping. Technicians use wire metal blades to physically peel the coating off in long, rubbery strips. It looks like peeling the skin off a sunburned giant. Beneath the black paint, the true nature of the aircraft is revealed. It is not metal. It is raw carbon fiber. A beautiful, dark gray woven texture that catches the light. The B-2 is now naked, stripped down to its bare bones. Now begins the gutting. The interior of the aircraft is a time capsule of 1980s technology, ruined by salt. The cockpit is shoveled out literally. Buckets of dried sand and silt are removed. The old analog flight instruments are corroded beyond recognition. We unscrew them, snapping the rusted bolts, and pull the dashboard out, dragging a trailing mess of colorful wires. It is a complete evisceration. At the rear, the heavy lifting gear is brought in. The General Electric F118 engines, once the beating heart of this beast, are dead. They are brown heaps of rust. We attach the chains and hoist them out of the fuselage as they hang in the air, dripping dark oil. You can see the turbine blades are warped and fused together. They are scrap metal now. The landing gear, The hydraulic pumps, the miles of electrical wiring, everything must go. We are reducing the most advanced bomber in history to a hollow shell, a gray ghost, but this shell is strong. Laser scanning reveals that the carbon fiber structure has survived remarkably well. The composite material is impervious to rust. However, there are microfractures. Under UV light, we identify hairline cracks in the wing spars. The repair process is surgical. We grind out the damaged areas and lay in new sheets of pre-impregnated carbon fiber cloth. We inject aerospace-grade epoxy resin and cure it under portable heat lamps. The patches are stronger than the original material. The skeleton is healed. Now, we rebuild the nervous system. Technicians thread thousands of meters of new gold-plated wiring looms through the fuselage. Every connection is sealed against moisture. The hydraulic lines are replaced with stainless steel tubing, and fresh, bright red hydraulic fluid is pumped through the veins of the aircraft. It pulses with pressure, waking up the control surfaces. We are not just restoring the B-2, we are upgrading it. The 1980s analog dials are gone. In their place, we install a modern glass cockpit.
Right on the spar.
3 massive, high-definition multifunction touchscreens are fitted into the dashboard. They glow to life, displaying complex 3D terrain maps and real-time diagnostic data. The pilot will no longer fly by gauges, he will fly by information. Brand new ACES2 ejection seats are lowered into place. The fresh black sheepskin covers offering a stark contrast to the high-tech surroundings. The engine bay receives its new tenants for brand new F11HE10 turbofan engines, fresh from the factory. They shine like silver jewelry. The installation is a moment of precision engineering. The engines are slid into the bays with millimeter accuracy. The mounting bolts are torqued to exact specifications. Fuel lines, braided in stainless steel, are connected with blue anodized fittings. We connect the ground power unit. The heartbeat test. The starter motors 1. The titanium fan blades begin to spin, a blur of motion. The engines are alive. Finally, the cloak of invisibility. The hangar enters clean room mode. Air filtration systems hum, removing every particle of dust. Robotic arms, moving with the grace of artists, begin the painting process. First, a conductive gray primer. Then, the top coat, the advanced radar absorbent material. This is the secret sauce. As the robots spray the black liquid, you can see the light disappearing. The paint does not reflect, it absorbs. The aircraft transforms from a gray machine into a silhouette, a void in three-dimensional space. It is a black hole sitting on the hangar floor. The white military star, stenciled on. The red no-step warnings are applied. The resurrection is visually complete. It is black, sleek, and terrifyingly beautiful. The day has arrived. The massive, blast-proof hangar doors slide open, the gears grinding with the sound of anticipation. The blinding white light of the desert sun spills onto the black floor, illuminating the nose of the Spirit. A yellow tug vehicle pulls the aircraft out onto the tarmac. The heat shimmer rising from the concrete distorts the air around the black fuselage, making it look like a mirage. The pilot, dressed in a pressure suit, climbs the ladder. He straps into the new ejection seat, connects his oxygen mask, and flips the battery master switch. The screens flicker to life. He runs the flight control check. On the massive wings, the split-drag rudders and elevons flap up and down, like a bird stretching its wings after a long slumber. The ground crew pulls the chocks. Engines start. A puff of black smoke, followed by the deep, chest-vibrating roar of turbofan spooling up to idle. The sound of raw power. The B-2 taxis to the runway threshold. It looks aggressive.
Clear on
a
the
predator
left side.
crouching, ready to pounce.
Easy
The
now.
pilot pushes the
Confirmed
throttle
alignment.
levers forward to
Lower the
military
mounts.
power. The brakes hold the nose down. The suspension compressing under the thrust. Brake release. The Spirit lurches forward. It accelerates down the runway, faster and faster. The background blurs into streaks of brown and blue. The nose wheel lifts off the tarmac. And then, the magic of lift takes
Watch
over.
the clearance on the
The
starboard side.
52-meter wings
Got it.
catch the air,
Rolling steady.
and the 200-ton machine defies gravity. It rises effortlessly, gracefully leaving the Earth behind. The landing gear retracts, the doors closing flush, returning the aircraft to its perfect aerodynamic form. It climbs vertically, punching a hole through a layer of white cumulus clouds. Up here, at 50,000 feet, the sky is a deep, dark indigo. The B-2 levels off, cruising silently in the stratosphere. It banks hard to the left, the sun glinting off the gold-tinted cockpit canopy. The bomb bay doors cycle open and closed, a salute to its operational readiness. A vapor cone forms around the wings as it pushes the sound barrier. As the sun begins to set, the B-2 turns west, flying directly into the dying light. The silhouette of the bomber merges perfectly with the orange and purple horizon. It is no longer a machine of metal land wire. It is a shadow, a ghost returning to its realm. The navigation lights are switched off. It vanishes into the night, unseen, unheard, but undeniably present. The landing gear touches down with a puff of blue smoke. The drag chute deploys. The ghost slows to a halt. From a rusted, forgotten wreck at the bottom of the ocean to the king of the skies once more. We have cheated death. We have reversed entropy. The mission is accomplished. The spirit of Atlantis has returned home.
Yeah, welcome home. Yeah, welcome home. Great job up there.